Good afternoon, everyone. I have the pleasure of speaking with Nathan Bowen of Second Star Productions this afternoon, and I am delighted as to have him as my guest. Hi, Nathan. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm fine. I want you to use your booming voice, okay? You're an actor. I want you to boom, okay?
Can do.
So tell me about Second Star Productions. How did you guys get started?
Great. So we were founded in 1996. They're a group of some community folks who lived in the area who had worked with other theater production companies and felt that that first of all, there was a lack of musical theater presence really in Bowie and the surrounding area. There wasn't really a community theater opportunity for folks who wanted to do musical theater in particular in the area. There were a couple of play-driven groups, but not necessarily musicals at the time. And they really wanted to focus on folks having fun and making art together, not really getting caught up in some of the drama that you see in some organizations, and really being community focused and person family driven is kind of what they wanted to do. And they had other experiences elsewhere, and they decided they would bring their talents to this area. One of the founders is actually still a member of our board, and her name was Jane Wingard, and she was a art teacher in Prince George's County for several decades, and she had retired recently. Was like, Bowie, it would be a great place to start working. And they started the organization in 1996, and we perform out of the Bowie Playhouse, which is a facility that's actually run by the city of Bowie.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. So tell me how you guys are funded. Are you funded by the city of Bowie?
You could say that we're supported by the city of Bowie in the fact that we don't pay market rent necessarily for the
Mm,
space. We
hmm.
are charged for use of the space, but it's definitely not what you'd see if you were paying as an outside organization, since we have that background and that history with them. In terms of more direct funding, we're mostly supported by tickets from those who come to see our shows. That's definitely a largest source of revenue. And beyond that, we receive a grant from the Maryland State Arts Council, which is a great partner. They provide us with like an operating grant every year that helps us subsidize our operations, because it's pretty expensive to even just use the facility and rent
I'm
everything we
sure.
need to rent and build the props and the sets that we have to. And then we make up kind of the difference with donations from community members and from board members.
But I understand that you guys are volunteer run. Is that correct?
Yep, everyone is a volunteer. Our orchestra members get a very small stipend to kind of cover gas, just because it's hard to find folks who want to kind of sit in the orchestra and play. But everything beyond that, our directors, our board members, our actors, everyone else is a fully volunteer. No one's getting paid beyond that.
That's incredible. Are you in need of volunteers?
Always, actually, yes. We don't necessarily struggle with finding actors. We're always looking for new actors, of course. But
That's going to be
I
my next question. Okay.
right? Yeah. I mean, folks from Bowie in particular, we'd always love to see more of those, because we get, being a suburban area, you don't necessarily have that urban center. I used to
Hmm.
do shows in Annapolis when I used to live there. I'm a Bowie native as of 2018, and you have a larger urban center, so more Annapolis people do those shows. In Bowie, it's more of a commute kind of location. So people hear, hey, they're doing this show, I might travel 30 minutes to there. So we're always looking for more Bowie folks, because you'd be surprised how few people realize that there is a theater that's behind it's White Marsh Park behind the Sports Fit. So we're always looking for more people. But in terms of admin, sometimes it's kind of hard to find folks who want to do the crunch of the numbers and the marketing materials and direct the shows, because everyone wants to be on stage.
Of
I
course.
appreciate that, because I started out as an actor, and I do that whenever I have the opportunity still.
But you're a producer, director, or you do it all?
I've done most of the jobs at this point. I definitely come from the acting side of things, but I've definitely directed shows. I produce a lot of our shows as president, but my heart's on stage, and in the relationships you really get to make when you have a castmate, and you spend 3 months rehearsing a show with a bunch of people, and you meet people from all different walks of life. We have lots of folks who do work at NASA, who work at the military bases. Lots of teachers especially like to do shows.
That's
Not surprising.
amazing.
Yeah, so it's just wonderful to meet all these people who love the art, but this is just their side love, so they don't get necessarily caught up in all of the complexities of working in the theater and the stress. This is just for fun. We all love it that much that we're willing just to do it in our free time.
And how many shows do you do a year?
We This season we have four, two plays, one which is a play with music, and two musicals. Next year we're gonna wrap down to three shows next year. Sorry, you're gonna say.
Okay. Please enlighten me. What's the difference between being a play with music and a musical?
That's very hard to define sometimes. Really, musicals are probably more common and people see them more often because
Like
they're
Music Man. That's what I
yeah,
think of. I'm
exactly. Yeah,
dating myself, but yeah, okay.
it's more often that the songs come out of the dialogue as natural as kind of the character feels this, so they start singing it.
Ah, Funny
Plays
Girl.
with yeah, exactly. And most of the shows you think of and plays with music tend to be shows that have there's a performance within the performance, or Crowns, which is our upcoming production. It's spirituals that are sung kind of in a church-like setting, and so it's a play driven by the script and the text that was written by the author, but there are songs incorporated into that text that might not necessarily be I'm feeling this way, so I'm going to start singing this way.
Yeah. So Crowns is your next upcoming production,
Mhm.
and it's got gospel songs in it.
Yes, it does. It's
Oh, you got to
all
tell me about this. Let's hear about Crowns.
Oh, certainly. So it's a play by Regina Taylor that was written about 2 decades ago at this point, and she's actually recently had several plays on Broadway all at the same time. Very well-known Black American wonderful writer and actor as well. She's been in lots of TV shows that you might have seen in movies. But she wrote this show, and it's about a young woman who moves from New York after a tragedy in her family to live with some of her Southern relatives, and learns
Ooh.
about the culture through crowns, is referencing the hats that are worn in church, and they kind of tell the story through the hats and through these spirituals and these songs, and it's a wonderful, it's
Oh,
moving. There definitely will be some tears shed, but lots of laughter, and it's just a wonderful kind of conveyor, a story that tells the culture. And so we're really excited about this show. I've never even seen it because it's not produced as often as you'd like. The last time it was done in the area was in about 2002 or 2001, when it was debuted in the area, and it's not often done. And so I've read the script, I've heard the spirituals in life, but I've never actually gotten to see it. So I can't wait to see it.
gosh. And when is it coming? When is it going to be available?
It's going to be opening on the 10th of February, which is a Friday, and it runs 3 weekends for 8 performances total. We do Fridays and Saturday nights at 8 and Sundays at 2 p.m. And then we close on a matinee on a Sunday because we have to strike the set afterwards.
Striking the set. Gosh, that just sounds like, oh gosh, I'm from California, so all these terms just kind of resonate with me in the background. So, do you have ongoing auditions? You said you didn't have any problems getting actors, but I'm just wondering.
Not well, currently we actually are going to be auditioning for our next show. Apologies, my dog George Bailey has feelings about something that's
Didn't
happening
hear a
out
thing
front.
about George.
Oh, great. We have a show. Our next musical is Something Rotten, which will open at the end of May. And that's a big musical. It's a more recent show. I believe it won the Tony a couple years ago, but someone will
Hey,
fact check me, I'm sure. And it's a really fun show. And we will be auditioning that one at the late February. We're finalizing the dates right now with the production team. And we'll be looking for actors and everything for that show.
does someone have to be an actor or a kind of would-be person be interested? I mean, I'm just wondering if I decided I want to flex my thespian bones.
Anyone can walk off the street. We don't have any limitations on auditions. We do ask that people come with the song, but if people don't have a song prepared, some people sing happy birthday or something like that. We really are, open to anyone off the street. We cast based on the talent of the folks in front of us. So we recently closed Sound of Music, and I think at least a third of the cast, it was their first musical, and most of the cast, they were new to Second Star Productions, which we were really excited to bring in a bunch of new actors. So it's just people from the community that that are interested in acting or have acted in the past and love to do so.
I'm going to assume that you were closed during COVID.
We had a show that we had already auditioned and we're preparing
Oh,
for, Matilda the musical, that closed June 2020, and then we only reopened in August 2022 with a production of Sweat the
you
play. And
just opened. So how's that
yeah,
going? Are things
it's
going well for you? Or well, things can always be better.
yeah, it's going okay. Financially, we've been able to weather it pretty well. We have a shop that we rent in Edgewater where we store all of our sets and stuff. So we were kind of spending money while not making any money for a couple of years.
Mm, mm.
I'd say more so, the audience has been a little slower to come back, but Sound of Music sold really well, which we were very
Oh,
excited about.
good,
It's got a big
good.
name, so that's not surprising. So we're hoping
Sure.
that continues our luck. And I think a lot of folks rebalance their lives a little bit. I know myself, I had a kid during the pandemic, so
Congratulations.
thank you. And so I think the volunteers have been a little bit slower to come back, but they're starting to do so as well. And like I said, we didn't have trouble casting the shows. It's
Volunteers.
it's more, finding directors and everything else as well. So we're
Wow.
doing well, and we're hoping to continue, into the future. Everything, like you said, could be better, but we're just so grateful for everything that we do have and all the volunteers that do spend their time.
That is so wonderful. I'm definitely going to see Crowns and I'm going to get on your mailing list. But yeah, for sure. So if someone wanted to get in contact with you either to audition or to volunteer or whatever, what would be the best way to reach you? And would you be the contact person?
I most likely will be the responder. Yeah.
Okay.
So our website has at the bottom of it has a contact us. There's an email address, info@secondstarproductions.org. Second Star is always spelled 2ND. It's kind of after the Peter Pan Second Star to the Right. Uh, that's where we
Like
get
that.
the name.
Okay.
Yeah. And we also have a phone number, but that's a little bit more for box office questions and such. And there's
Okay.
also a place where you can sign up for our email list. And if you want to sign up for our physical mailing list, you can always send us an email and just say, here's my address, and we'll send postcards and brochures for upcoming productions.
Okay. So tell me again what your website is. I got it, but I want to make sure
Oh,
everybody else did.
that is fair. It's www.secondstarproductions.org. That's 2NDSTAR Productions.
Gosh, this has just been so much fun. Nathan, I wish I had more time with you. Thank you so, so much. I will definitely see you for the opening of Crowds. Okay.
Wonderful. And thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me. I really appreciate it.
It's been my pleasure. You take care.
All right, you too.